Appreciate the Christmas sweater before it goes out of shot. It is a little reindeer with a poinsettia on it in sparkles. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite Christmas movies. So these ones I pretty much rewatch every year, but also several of them I rewatch several times during the Christmas season, and a couple of them I will even watch not during the Christmas season. So number one Christmas movie that I will also watch off season and that I watch multiple times during the Christmas season is While You're Sleeping. This has Sandra Bullock in it, and I love a lot of Sandra Bullock movies. My favorite fall rewatch is another of her movies, Practical Magic. This one is about a woman who works at a subway or train station. She takes the little coins as people go through to get on, and she lost her mom when she was a kid, and she lost her dad when she was about college age, and she has no siblings, no significant other, and she pretty much only has friends from work. And so she feels very lonely on Christmas, especially because it's extra pointed out that she has no one on Christmas because her boss asked her to work even though she's working Thanksgiving because she's the only one without a family, which is very rude. But yeah, she dreams about a guy who comes through every day to get on the train, and one day she sees him get mugged and pushed onto the tracks, and she rolls him off the tracks and saves him, and she goes to the hospital to try to see him to make sure he's okay, and she says to herself she's going to marry him because she's dreamed of marrying this imaginary guy based on this person for a while. And the nurse overhears, thinks that she's actually engaged to the person, lets her in the room, and then introduces her to the guy's family as his fiance. And he's in a coma, so he can't refute that. And it's all about her finding a family and falling in love with having that family. And there's a romance to it where she falls in love with the guy's brother instead of him. And that part's very sweet. But the best part about it is, and the main point of the movie, is that she wants the family more than she wants to marry this imaginary person she had concocted. And having that family feels so good that she doesn't want to burst their bubble and say she's not actually this guy's fiance. And it shows them celebrating Christmas together, and it's so sweet. So it gives me all the good feelings, and it's also funny. So that's why I watch it so much. Next is It's a Wonderful Life. I love the concept of the movie about living a normal life where you just take care of the people who are in your vicinity, even if you don't get to be super successful, you don't have a lot of money, if you don't go off and become maybe an architect. I don't remember what he wanted to become. But if you don't travel the world, if you don't become famous, if you don't accomplish things in the way that society tells you you should, your life is still valuable. Even if you don't do any of the wonderful things that George Bailey did for his community, your life is still valuable. But the point of the movie is that George Bailey didn't see his life as valuable, and he never got to do great big things and become a war hero like his brother did or anything like that, because he was so busy caring for his family and his community. And it's all about mutual aid, which I didn't really connect until I watched it after knowing what mutual aid was. Yeah, it's all about giving what you can to the people who need it when they need it, and then if you ever need something, those people who are in better circumstances than you at that time will then give to you. And it's a whole community taking care of each other concept that I love a lot. The one part I don't like is that the horrible in the alternate universe type thing where George Bailey doesn't exist, The horrible fate of his wife is that she's a single librarian, and I just that's supposed to be terrible, but it was written in a time where being single was considered terrible. But it's just really silly to me. In fact, women in those times especially were better off not being married. Don't get me started on that. After that, my third favorite is Barbie Scrooge, which is called, I think it's Barbie in A Christmas Carol, which is, I have loved Barbie movies since I was a little kid. My mom got me every one of them. For how many years? They came out 2 every year, and I probably had 14 of them, so about 7 years. And I love them so much. They eventually started going down quality-wise because, yeah, at some point they became just the thing to sell a new doll and not whatever wonderful thing. I don't know how they were ever wonderful when they were made by a toy company, but they really were. Anyway, Barbie Scrooge was still in the good era, and in this version, Barbie, what's her name? It's not Barbie. Anyway, she is a singer and she kind of owns a entertainment company, and she tells all of her entertainers that they have to work on Christmas to practice for an upcoming show in January. They're all very upset. She goes to bed and has dreams about all the trauma in her past that made her into such a uncompassionate person. And of course, as Scrooge does, learns from the future one that things will not turn out well for her if she continues to be uncompassionate. And a big part of it is the value of her friendship that she's had since childhood with one of the people who now works as her dressmaker. That person actually appears in each dream in a different way. And that's really, really precious to me. Platonic friendships are a really big part of a lot of Barbie movies. Even though a lot of them end in weddings, the platonic friendships are still a really big deal, and sisterhood. Yeah, so that's a very precious part about it. But while all that's going on, you also have the Christmas music and the people celebrating together stuff and all of that Christmassy feeling stuff that really gets me in the spirit of things for the season. Similarly, Santa Claus 2 is quite silly and is about a very fast romance. It takes place over about a month, but the biggest part of it takes place over about a day. This is where Santa Claus discovers that he needs to get a wife before Christmas. He finds this out on like December 1st in order to continue being Santa Claus. And the part I like best about this is the set design of the North Pole. It's so pretty and cute, and I really like. There are some movies that like show Santa as being a solitary figure and he makes all the toys, or he doesn't have very good like friendships with the elves, so he's very lonely. But this is very much shows that Santa has lots of society, he has lots of friends and co-workers, and the North Pole is bustling and full of activity. And the set design is just absolutely gorgeous. It makes me feel very Christmassy, as well as there's Christmas music playing throughout the movie. And I also really love the scene where the faculty Christmas party at the school, which doesn't make sense because one of the big conflicts is that the principal hasn't bought any Christmas decorations for Christmas, and yet the gym is decked out for Christmas for this party. It doesn't make any sense. It's a very silly movie, but it's very Christmassy, and partially in a materialistic kind of way, but also in a sweetness, family, friendship, the magic of childhood kind of way. Then there's The Grinch, the animated one, not the new animated one. I don't like that animation style. The old animated one. It's very short, very cutesy, and also very sweet, and I love that. And I love the song You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. That really makes me happy. Then there's Elf, about baby who crawls into Santa's sack from an orphanage and is raised by elves, finds out he's a human and goes to find his human father in New York. And that's about family. And it both shows the value of his adoptive family and his biological family. Which is cool to see. Yeah, again, a lot of Christmas music, a lot of Christmas imagery, and a lot of silliness, but also some very sweet family stuff. Then Charlie Brown. This one has the Christian Christmas story in it and is very nostalgic for my childhood. Yeah, that's about that's about all there is to say about it. It's very short, and I don't really like Charlie Brown outside of that context. It's just something that we watched every year when I was a kid, and so it's like has special memories to it. Then there's Rudolph, another very classic one. The value of found family, value of being different, as long as you're useful. About how differences can be useful, but maybe they were valuable as a person before they were useful. But his family did come to apologize to him before they found out he was useful, so that's something. And yeah, I really love the idea of misfits banding together and then advocating for other misfits who have been left behind. That's really cool. Oh, there's a bird right outside my window. He's a little fat one. It's a Junko. Then we have Barbie Nutcracker, which has the it was all a dream trope, which is why it's not higher on my list. But it is also nostalgic. It was my first Barbie movie. It might have been the first Barbie movie. And the first Barbie movies were all based on ballets. And I loved the dancing. I loved the music. I would get up and dance with the music. The characters are very sweet. The Christmassy imagery with all the trees and the peppermint village and stuff like that was very fun. And kind of like Beauty and the Beast, it has the lady falling in love with a nutcracker who doesn't look is not handsome because he's a nutcracker, although this nutcracker is handsomer than most nutcrackers because his beard is not all tufty and gross. But yeah. I like that aspect of it, and all the different types of fairies were very cute. And the quest style adventure, I really like a quest style adventure. There are a few other Barbie movies that are also quest style, where you're like going to find a magical object or a magical person, and I really like that too. And then sometimes you just want an animated version of the Christian Christmas story, and the Story Keepers does that. I watched the entire series of Story Keepers when I was a little kid, and I loved them all. There's like found family and adoptive family and bio family, all the different types, and sweet friendships and silly shenanigan ways of getting people out of Roman prisons. But somehow that series never scared me. Like, I have a whole list of children's movies that scared me that I'll do a video about at some point, but like these were movies that were supposed to be for kids, but they really creeped me out. Or just straight up scared me when something bad was going to happen. But the Story Keepers, with all their threats of lions eating people, never scared me like that. But yeah, there's one episode of the Story Keepers that is about Christmas. Just watching an animated version of that is nice to see. So yeah, one of the movies that didn't make it onto this list is, I like a lot of it, but it is also on the movies that scared me list, and that is, actually there's two of them, but one of them is The Polar Express. I like a lot of parts of that, but it, especially a couple of scenes on the train, like there's a train car full of marionettes. Why was that there? That didn't need to be there. That was horrifying. So yeah, those are my top 10 Christmas movies. I'd love to know about your favorite Christmas movies. Do we have very different opinions on Christmas movies? Are you not a Christmas movie person? I'm sure there's some emoji relating to movies, either a cassette tape or one of those movie camera things. Anyway, leave something like that if you would like to leave an emoji. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!